Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it's so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by now. Here's JP.
All right, it is Victory Monday here, Buccaneers fans. Welcome into the JP Peterson Show. And who is that handsome man on my there he is. That's IndyCar Tim right there. And there's a reason for this. We got two. It's such a big win for the Buccaneers. We got two shows today. We're going to be doing an hour this morning, mostly Buccaneers. We'll hear from Baker Mayfield. We'll hear from Todd Bowles. We got some interesting takes on this game and this season, so we'll have that for you. We're going to get at some college football, the rest of the NFL, and that is IndyCar Tim of our DSP Media folks in Dallas, and he'll be running the show this morning. And then tonight we're going to be at the patio at 421 McDill in South Tampa, do a little Monday Night Football remote. We have not done a remote in a while, but we're going to do one tonight. Peter Blake will join me for that, so we'll have 2 hours tonight from 4 to 6 to get ready for Monday Night Football. That's where the Bills Mafia hangs out, Tim, so I don't know. I could be in danger tonight, which I'd rather enjoy, especially when I'm broadcasting. Good morning to you. How are you?
I'm doing great, brother. How are you doing?
Hey, all of Tampa Bay is
Victory
giddy.
Monday, right?
It's giddy after this win. Yeah, listen, the people that watch this show are not shocked. We told you guys that the Bucs were going to win. We gave you the under and the Bucs. We hope you cashed on that, plus Florida State and the over. We hope you cashed on all that great stuff. No, I was supremely confident that they would go out and play well. I didn't know if they were going to win. I liked the 6 points I got. A line that went from 7 to at the beginning in the offseason to I think 4 before the game. It's a huge move, but it just tells you that the smart guys, right? The smart money was on the Buccaneers because they recognize a roster that's pretty good. We were just chatting before the show, and you feel like Minnesota's a good football team. I feel like Minnesota's a good football team. I think they and Detroit can win that division. And they're hard to beat at home. They won 13 games last year. You go in, you beat a team on the road, you're doing something. They're doing something.
Yeah, and I picked the Vikings to win that division up there. Of course, I think it's going to be between Detroit and Minnesota for sure. I don't see much coming from the Bears. I definitely don't see much coming from the Packers, although I am a Jordan Love fan.
I played well yesterday.
Yeah, I picked him in that draft to be the best quarterback out of that draft, and that draft, of course, included Justin Herbert. So he's got a long way to go to fulfill my prediction there. But I'm a fan of Jordan Love.
He's just starting. Yeah,
he is fourth season now. He's just starting. Yeah. So I think he's got some tools.
Yeah. So we'll get into all that, and I want to start obviously with the Bucs, and my theme for the day is this, folks. This season, it's all about team, not about Tom. And I thought it was great yesterday to see all the people in New England get all giddy about Tom Brady. Oh, Tom's coming. Look, we love Tom. We love what Tom did here. He maybe the greatest season we've ever had because it was the GOAT, the greatest to ever play, chose Tampa Bay, brought us a Super Bowl in the pandemic. Unbelievable. His second season, 13 wins, nice playoff run. It was a great time. But last year was bad. And it left the bad taste in my mouth, a lot of fans, and certainly a lot of his teammates. Don't think it didn't. And everybody loves Tom, and nobody's going to say anything bad about Tom. But you've heard it over the past couple of weeks. We started talking about this back in March because I talked to some of the players and some of the people around. And again, nobody's going to say anything bad about Tom, but it was like, it wasn't just Tom. It wasn't just Tom. We won this Super Bowl, not Tom Brady. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers won that Super Bowl and then won 13 games. And last year, it was dysfunctional. You know why? Because of Tom. Tom was the one who wanted to, not have Bruce Arians around. Todd Bowles can be the coach because he figured he'd be more buttoned up than Bruce Arians. It didn't work so well. And a lot of stuff crumbled around Tom. And I don't want to kick a man while he's down. Not that Tom Brady's ever going to be down. But hey, he had some bad moments. His marriage disintegrated. It was a tough time. I get all that. But a lot of that was self-inflicted by Tom and what happened to the Bucs in this succession. So this is what you saw yesterday. And I don't think it's lost on me, and it should not be lost on you, that Baker Mayfield in his opening game was 21 of 34, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. and some critical throws and some big-time plays. And dare I say, on 3rd and 4, when they're running out the clock and he makes that run, not only did he have the athleticism and the speed to get outside and turn the corner, but he also had the intestinal fortitude to put his head down and get a first down. Tom Brady ain't doing that. Tom Brady's not doing that. That was Baker Mayfield making an effing play. And these guys rally around him. Tom Brady's opener against the Saints, do you remember it? 23 of 36, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, a rating of 78.4, an L to the Saints. So you may, the 173 yards may not wow you. It may not be eye-popping. But what Baker didn't do was turn over the football. Oh, he's got the most interceptions in the league since blah, 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 blah. Look into the numbers. Look into the numbers. We told you this. His turnover-worthy plays were about average. Not the worst in the league, about average. It's about team, not about Tom. It's about the whole team, not about Tom. And what did the whole team go out? They were outgained what? They only had 242 yards yesterday, but they played winning football. They made big plays on 3rd down. How about Carlton Davis knocking that ball away on 3rd and 7 late in the game? Big play. How about Christian Izien, the rookie, just ripping the ball away at the goal line? That's a 7-point play, maybe even more than that at the turnover. Huge play. Antoine Winfield stripping the quarterback, getting the turnovers. All about team, not about Tom. And these guys wanted to prove that. And they played with the chip on their shoulder. And as we know, Tim, the team that is most physical wins the game most every single time. And for my eyes, the Bucs were more physical. They played harder. And let me give a little shout out here to Todd Bowles. 4th and 1 on your own, 32? And early in the game, go for it. And you got a quarterback in Baker Mayfield that you're going to run the quarterback. It's Tom Brady did very well, by the way. Get that quarterback sneak. I love the way Todd Bowles managed this game. And I have been one of his biggest critics about how he managed games last year. I didn't like a lot of it. But he did everything right, going for a 57-yard field goal instead of punting the ball. That was the right call at that time. Yes, listen, Minnesota could move the ball. They had over 300 yards passing. And that was, to be expected to me. You're going to get, but Todd Bowles will trade 3 turnovers for 400 yards any day of the week. That's winning football. It's about team. It's not about Tom. And that's why this team went up there and played with a chip on its shoulder and won a game that many thought they could not win. To start the season, I think they were the biggest underdog of the week. Now, that number came down as people started to look at the Buccaneers roster and stop thinking about, oh, it's Tom Brady. He's gone, replaced by Baker Mayfield. 2 wins. Lazy take. Lazy effing take. And they went out and showed you that it's not about Tom. It was about the roster on this team. Now, are they going out to win the Super Bowl? Nah, probably not. That's not going to happen. But you know what they are doing? They're going to build for the future around a team and a nucleus. And I think a lot of these guys may be here when they are ready to win a Super Bowl. Who knows? I mean, nobody had the Bengals going to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, and they damn near won it. Nobody had the Eagles going to the Super Bowl last year, and they damn near won it. Who knows? Hell, Madden 24 already predicted the Bucs are going to the Super Bowl and losing to the Chiefs. Although the Chiefs don't look so good right now, do they? Without Travis Kelce and Chris Jones. So, listen, it's week 1 in the NFL. You're never as good as you think you are, or you're never as bad as you think you are. Hope Mike Tomlin can definitely subscribe to that because the Steelers got their ass kicked. And I didn't see that. I didn't see that coming. But I tell you what, Tim, for my money, and this is why I love this team. This is why I love Baker. And this is why I think the fans are just going to embrace this team. I love it when the quarterback embodies the community and the culture of the city, right? And those teams usually win. This is a weird theory I have, but when your teams kind of match, Tampa Bay is kind of a, it was formed by the Italians and the Spanish and the Cubans. It's an immigrant city, Ybor City. That's where Tampa Bay was kind of born. And it's a hardworking, still blue collar. It's nothing like Miami. You can see, look, Miami's got the glitz and the glamour. They got Tyreek Hill and Tua and Waddle, and they're running around and all flashy and stuff. You can score 38 points all you want. They're not going to be a winning football team this year. It looks great, but you got to play defense. You got to have some guts to you. You got to have a backbone. When somebody says you look thick, you can't cry and whimper at the podium like their quarterback did last week. I want a quarterback that's going to stand up there on 3rd and 4 and run somebody over. And that's what Baker Mayfield did. And he's humbled himself. He's not the entitled jerk that we saw early on in his career, or that was people's perception of him. I love his story. Everywhere he's gone, he's had to fight for it. Everywhere he's gone, he walked on Texas Tech, walked on at Oklahoma. And what does he do? He's a winner. He's a effing winner. And the guys rally around him. So I love them. If this team can stay healthy, I think they have a shot to win the division. And this offense is going to get way better. As we've said many times in this offseason, the defense needs to carry them early, and that's what they did yesterday. In the first half, this offense my phone was blowing up. They're like, this team is awful. I'm like, relax. It's going to take some time offensively. They only played two series in the preseason, which I thought was a horrible miscalculation by Todd Bowles, because they came out and they looked terrible offensively. They did. But you knew that they could make some plays as they got going because the roster's just too good. Mike Evans is too good. He's going to get open. Chris Godwin, I thought, the numbers weren't huge, but he made some really, really big plays. And how about Trey Palmer getting a touchdown in his first game as a rookie? A lot of guys stood up, and we'll talk about a lot of game-changing plays. But to me, this was all about team. It wasn't about Tom. That's the theme of the season, even though nobody's going to run out there and say it. Guys have hinted at it. You've heard about it. They've hinted at it. But inside that room, that's what they're talking about. And I think it's a driving force. It's a powerful force. When people doubt you and they slough you off because, the superstar isn't there anymore, it's a powerful thing, especially when you got a team that's got a pretty damn good roster and some young players that stepped up. And when you start to see that can be special. Well,
and I'll tell you what impressed me about Baker, and I'm a Baker fan too. I have been since he was at Tech, because again, I always pull for the underdog, right? I loved his moxie. I loved his I guess just his demeanor on visiting fields, planting the flag on the opposing field. I love that. And I thought for sure this guy is going to be great in the NFL. Well, he probably won't be great, but man, he can sure still be really good. Because looking at the Bucs and the Vikings, for him to pull out a win on the road in a loud stadium, by the way, that new stadium they have up there is crazy loud. It's no Arrowhead, but it's pretty loud. And when you look at the box score for the Bucs and the Vikings, the Buccaneers less than 5 yards per pass, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Less than 4 yards per play.
Yeah, it's bad.
And they go into Minnesota. And we talked about it off the air before the show. Baker Mayfield may be the ultimate bus driver as a quarterback in the NFL, because he led the offense, and they didn't have to put up gaudy numbers.
Mm-mm.
That defense stepped up. And the Vikings had 369 total yards, but 17 points. And that defense from Tampa Bay should take 17 points any day of the week against any opponent. And they've got a good shot to win with Baker at quarterback.
Yeah, I agree with you. And, it's one of those games where the NFL is weird. You look at it across the league, and, the thing that doesn't mean a whole lot is yards. The yards are just not that important. If you're making plays, red zone conversions are important. Making your kicks is important. We didn't even mention Chase McLaughlin with a 57-yard field goal. A guy that's been to 11 different teams in 5 years. And he steps up, and Todd Bowles had the confidence in him. And that's something he didn't have last year with Ryan Suckup. He's the most accurate kicker in Bucs history, 82%, but he couldn't make a field goal over 48 yards ever. And these are times when you got to get a big one. And that was the game-winning kick from 57 yards. Those are not, those don't come every Sunday, folks. To step up and hit one like that right down the gut, that was big. And you love a gritty win like that. To me, that can really propel you. Now you got to just kind of shelve that one and come back and play your style of football. Look, and again, the offense is going to get better. It's just Dave Canales' first game calling plays as an offensive coordinator. He looked out of sorts in the first half, and they got it better. That drive in the second half, 16 plays, 75 yards, converting on third down, that showed me something. And even though they didn't rush for a lot of yards, they rushed the ball. They ran the ball. They took time off the clock. They shortened the game. They took the crowd out of the game. When you make a 16-play drive and score a touchdown, that's deflating for the defense. It tires them out. And in the fourth quarter, what did the Bucs do? They went to their 4-minute offense and got the big plays that they needed. Baker Mayfield with that throw to Chris Godwin. Godwin makes a great catch on the sideline on 3rd and 10, and that's a game-winning play. Because listen, the team, it's just the way it goes in this league. The team with the ball last is usually going to win, right? It's usually going to win. And had they turned the ball over at that point, the Bucs defense, do they hold? Do they make a play? Maybe they do. Maybe they do. But you know what? Let's not find out. Your best defense is always a good offense. They can't score if they don't have the ball, and that's what they did yesterday.
Unless you're the Cowboys, apparently, last night.
We'll get to that, by the way. Your Cowboys were sensational last night. Yeah, I made, I had a good weekend at the betting window, a really good weekend, but I had the Giants last night to cap things off. What a disaster.
Sorry about that.
What a disaster. Oh, my God. The Giants aren't that bad. The Cowboys aren't that good.
Right.
It's week 1. But when things go south for you like that and it's raining, it's like you're just like, get me the F out of here. If you're a Giants fan,
I felt bad.
Get me out of here. Yeah. Now, did you really, as a Cowboy?
I really did, man, because I like Daniel Jones. I think he's good, man. I just don't think he's gotten a fair break. Kind of like Mayfield, along his stops along the way. I think Daniel Jones can be really good. Liked him in college. Thought they picked him too high for sure. But, man, I did at one point. I was like, this is just bad, man. This is ugly.
Yeah, they were so bad offensively. I mean, Brian Daboll and all Saquon and Daniels, like they got some weapons there. I'm like, holy shit. But when it's going south for you, it goes south. And that Dallas defense is fast. Holy shit. They are fast.
I was impressed.
Yeah, they were really good. Let's take a quick listen to Baker Mayfield a little bit after the game. I love, and just listen to how understated he is. And once again, the theme of the day, theme of the year for the Bucs. He talks about team. Not about me, it's not about the questions aren't all about him. And that's not Tom's fault. I get that. But the focus is not on one guy, and that's what really drove this team. Let's listen to Baker.
Congratulations. First win as a Buc.
Thank you. Yeah, not our prettiest start by any means. Great environment, like we expected, really loud. And like we talked about being ready for their blitz package, we were, but every time we'd check, they would. And so that's kind of the story of what you saw in the first half right there. And just one of those things, kind of a chess match at that point. But luckily we were able to drive the ball a little bit in kind of a 2-minute hurry-up situation before the half and got Mike a touchdown and capitalized from there.
What happened in there, that 2-minute where things just started to click? Was it just the fact that you were pushing tempo?
Yeah, pushing tempo, not letting them get into certain things, and just making them declare what they're doing. And then I can't say enough about our defense, how they played. That's an incredible offense that we just played up against. A few turnovers, and I mean, they did a really good job, especially with how many snaps they had to be on the field with us.
Baker, can you talk about the clutch plays? You make the throw for the touchdown, and then you ran for a first down or helped run the ball there at the end, and then the throw to Chris Godwin. And those seem to be huge plays for you.
Yeah, I mean, you can always look back after a game, a close game like this, a few plays here and there that are really going to be the difference. And that last play, Chris caught that ball at just his fingertips. Incredible catch by him, sealing the deal. And just can't say enough about our guys. Just playing the next play. It wasn't our prettiest effort by any means, but we finished the right way. We finished with the ball in our hands, and we talked about that coming in here. And that's how we wanted to do it. So, like I said, hats off to our defense, and then also Chase as well. I mean, that's 57-yarders. that's pretty impressive.
First time with Dave Canales. Didn't get much going in the first half. What did you talk about at halftime? And just, do you think this will grow as you guys are together?
Oh, absolutely. It'll definitely grow. It's just playing against Brian Flores. It's quite the challenge. I mean, he's a defensive mastermind. So it was a good test for us for our first match. So yeah, we're going to grow. We're going to get better offensively. We have a long way to go, but we'll take all the wins we can get. It's extremely hard in this league.
Mike Evans said earlier this week that his favorite thing about you is that you have this ability to just remain super positive, and if you make a bad play, it's immediately on to the next play. You're able to forget about it. For you, where does that come from?
I don't know. That just comes with time. Playing quarterback for a long time is just The most important play is the next one. You harp on the last one, good or bad, you're going to affect the outcome of the next. So you can always, make up for it. Game's not over until that clock hits 0, and I think that's where that mentality comes from.
How big was that swing there to finish out the first half?
There's Baker Mayfield, boy. It's just the humility and Tim. It's one thing I noticed. The first press conference he was here. The assembled media, we were all just let's see what this is all about with Baker Mayfield. And I for one, asked a couple of questions about his humility. Seeing if he would take the bait, and he didn't take the bait. I wasn't trying to do a gotcha. I just really wanted to just get to the core of it and like, who are you now? Like, where are you at right with your career? And ask some very direct questions about that. And he didn't. And what I loved about it is he didn't try to blow smoke. He didn't make excuses. He just said, man, it just basically said, look, I've been through some tough times, man. I've learned a lot. And I'm better for it. And I'm ready to move forward. And that has kind of been his theme. And I tell you what, it's a great marriage with this team. It really, really, you can see how it fits. It really is a good fit. And, so much of the NFL is about good fits, right? You got, players and coaches that match each other, cities that match each other with the culture of the team. You go back to Tony Dungy and that team, their first Super Bowl team, man, that was a great match. And I feel something really, again, I don't think this team's winning the Super Bowl, but they're going to be a lot better than people think. And I think Baker's just the guy to do it.
Well, especially in that division, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, who else? Nobody looks good. And I mean, I guess Atlanta looked improved, but I don't know if I'd call them good. And my poor Saints, they'll never be good again, I swear.
Well, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Saints. We're going to talk about all this stuff. We're going to take a quick break here. Don't forget 2 shows today. We got the show at the patio coming up, a live remote. We're going to be doing this each and every Monday Night Football at the patio. We'll be there from 4 to 6 tonight for Jets and Bills. That should be one hell of a game. Bills Mafia will be there. Come out and join us. We got $4 White Claw vodka drinks and seltzers. It's going to be a lot of fun. So join us. Peter Blake will be along with me, and we'll have the fan mic set up so you guys can jump in and have some fun with us. We'll have some T-shirt giveaways, all that good stuff at the patio tonight, 4 to 6. But we'll be back with more Bucs, more NFL. We got some college football to talk about. FSU getting some first place votes, baby, and more right after this break. Stay with us. Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. It will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years.
Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
All right. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up. They're going down. They're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
Let's go right now. Back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
I think you're on mute, JP. Back here on the JP show, trying to figure out JP's microphone here. Tough doing a show when you're there. You go. You almost had it. We'll get this figured out.
It's probably
there you go.
Yeah, it's an internet issue with my good friends at Spectrum. Love those people. Can you believe? Like every time I've had to go to YouTube TV now. I don't know what you're doing, Tim.
Same thing.
Yeah, it's as much as I hate having to pay ESPN. I do miss them because they have so many damn things that you want to see, including we got Monday Night Football tonight, right? I can't believe they're still in this pissing match with Spectrum. Spectrum is the second biggest cable company. I have the second most subscribers, I think. How many people are missing out on ESPN content? Yeah, it's millions and millions and millions of people. And I tell you, especially in this world that we live in, Tim, take something away and people learn to live without it or find a different way. They'll find a different way. And it's a dangerous game ESPN is playing, a dangerous, dangerous game. So
seems like they would be begging for subscribers right now too, in the financial condition that they're in, Yeah. This is
a very big misstep. I think there's a level of arrogance there at ESPN on many, many levels that people just, have to have it. And no, as we've seen, I think 52% of all audio now is podcasting and not live broadcast, not radio. There's more people are now listening to more recorded audio or streamed audio than actual live radio and television. And television, obviously, with the cord cutters, are getting crushed. So yeah, there's been an awakening for quite some time now. People don't want to be force-fed stuff that they don't want to listen to or watch anymore. They're going to go find the things that they want to hear, the stuff they want to talk about, like this show. Independent voice, not some corporate rehash BS that you're going to get. You're going to get independent voices on this show, and we're not beholden to anybody. As you all well know. And see those folks down there, it's all because of them, our great sponsors, the Jeeves Law Group, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, Italiano Insurance, the Golden Diamond Source, been with me for over 10 years now, Extravaganza Productions, and American Mortgage Services. Our thanks to them in the patio, which we will be at later on tonight. And we talked a little bit about Todd Bowles earlier, but I just want a tip of the cap to Todd Bowles. And look, he's been on the hot seat. We've talked about this a lot in the offseason. I'm a huge, huge fan of him personally, but when you're being objective, you just can't look at his record and say he's been a great head coach. He hasn't been. But and last year I was tough on him last year, and I did a little bit of a mea culpa last week, Tim, because I heard an interview with one of our local reporters, Rick Stroud, did with Todd Bowles, and he was very candid about the dysfunction. And look, anytime he starts talking about it, it can come off as excuses, right? Because he's the head coach, the buck stops with him. But I think he was put in a very, very tough, difficult position. And my take on it last year was just fire Byron Leftwich, just fire him. But the problem is Tom Brady would not have done well with that. Tom was and Byron were kind of hooked at the hip, and everything was about Tom. You had to do everything for Tom, and I get that. That's why you do that when you get a Tom Brady. But last year it just kind of went over the top, and it was clear to everybody that it wasn't working. I mean, 18 points a game sucks. The Bucs scored more than that, by the way, yesterday, more than 18 points a game, and that was the difference in the game, right? But this is, and I think Todd, kind of felt that he couldn't fire Byron because of Tom, and that was so dysfunctional last year. And now Todd can be himself this year, and that big fourth down call early on, that's a huge call, and it sends a message to your team. I believe in you guys. I believe in you, offensive line. I believe in you, Baker Mayfield. Go get me a yard in this critical situation, and that's what they did. Barely, but they did it. That was a huge call. The way he directed the defense, coming up with big plays, lots of pressure early, came back, peeled it back a little bit, then pressure in key moments. I thought he called a great game defensively against a very, very high potent Minnesota team. When you hold them to 17 points at home, that's a hell of a job. It's a hell of a job by Todd Bowles. So I thought he managed the game really, really well, going for the 57-yard field goal at the end of the game. That could have backfired on you too. So every call that he made in this particular game was good, and it worked out for him. Every call and the way this team played as a team, the accountability, not a whole lot of bad penalties, 3 turnovers to none. And you look at the time of possession. The Bucs had more time of possession. You look at rushing yards. There weren't a lot, but there were 73-41. Did not allow Minnesota to rush the football. These are winning numbers. They're hidden numbers, but they're winning numbers. And that's the way Todd Bowles is going to win games. It's going to be a whole lot of 38-36 is going on with Todd Bowles. So let's listen to a victorious Coach Bowles after the game yesterday as he soaks in this big win.
Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you.
Can you talk about, it looked like you guys struggled a little bit offensively in the beginning, first half at least, but then maybe caught some rhythm, and of course, the defensive stops.
Schematically, they gave us a hard time in the beginning. They did some things we had to get used to. I thought the adjustments Dave made at halftime were outstanding. We started moving the ball some. We stuck with it. These guys are gritty. It's a tough win, tough place to play.
Very high-powered offense that you guys went up against. Justin Jefferson was quite the challenge, but your defense was able to get a number of takeaways. Can you just talk about their performance?
3 turnovers are big. He got some plays. I don't think you can ever stop that guy. And we kept him out of the end zone, so that was a plus. He's one of the greatest to play. And those guys played gutsy. We got off the field in the second half. They made some gutsy stops, and I thought they pulled through.
You signed Chase McLaughlin because you wanted a strong leg. What do you think? That's a tied career high. Could you have drawn that up any better for him?
Couldn't have drew it up any better. That's what we got him for. He was accurate. He got it through the uprights. He made a hell of a kick.
Your quarterback before that 2-minute drive was like 3 of 12 in the first half. Just what can you say about his ability to put all that behind him, the offense to put all that behind them, and to have such a productive 2 minutes and then second half?
Baker's gutsy. He's tough. The guy stayed behind him. The great thing is when he was having problems, he wasn't turning it over. He's giving our defense, kept him in the game. He kept getting out, but he wasn't turning the ball over. They stuck with it. They made some plays. He made some gutsy runs at the end, and the offensive line came through for him. The receivers showed up, and it was a great team win.
You've told us before you don't care what the outside has to say, but a lot of people didn't give you guys a chance for this game or even for this season. Just what did today you think tell them?
I don't know what it told them. It told us what we knew all along. We can go in and win the ball game. Again, if I paid attention to it, I would actually have something to say, but I don't.
Think of the job Devin White did today.
He did a hell of a job. I mean, they did a great job covering the screen game, finding that hider. Him and Levante both, they were flying and making some plays that for anybody else, that ball would have got out of there, and that was a big part of their ball game. Something we really wanted to try and slow down a little bit. I thought he did from a call standpoint. He did a hell of a job. When he's out there, we're a better team.
Christian Izien made a couple big plays there. You get that from that rookie, and then you have Trey Palmer getting a touchdown. Were you impressed with those 2 rookies in particular?
Like I said, they're going to play. They're good football players. You just didn't know their names. You know, they're making themselves household names right now. You don't just make first team nickel as a free agent without being a good football player. So Coach Ross does a great job with them. Coach Johnson does a great job with them, and he made some great plays.
One game doesn't obviously make a season, but it's clearly better to get the season off on the right foot. So in the vein of that, what does this do for this team now?
It's a great win today. We got to move on tomorrow. It's just good to know you won't go 0-17.
Elijah Cansey, the calf injury, do you have an update on that?
No update yet. I know he came out because of it. I'll check on it after this.
Or do you know if there's any idea if it's more severe than the first? Or?
I'm not sure yet. Then.
Coach Bowles, that first drive coming out of halftime, 9 minutes, that was a beefy drive. What did that do for your offense and just being able to sustain that and end up with 7?
Well, the confidence was great. The continuity in the drive, we kept them out there on the field a long time. That goes a long way in the last part of the ball game. So that was big for us, coming out, controlling the ball, giving the defense a rest. I thought the defense played a lot of plays in the first half. Offense came out in the second half and made some plays and consistency and kept.
Yeah, that drive was a killer. And I think, Minnesota responded with a drive of their own. So, and actually that little double dip in there, you get the score before the half, and then you come out in 9 minutes. I don't have the number on this, but I would guess that when you do that, you don't lose many football games. You put up 14 points like that, plus 3 turnovers. It's tough for the other team to get on the field. And then the Vikings took up 7 or 8 minutes. So the more you shorten the game when you're on the road against the good offense, the better chance you have to win. So, all these things, these hidden yards, these hidden little deals have taken away time. This is a big deal. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they came out in the second half. The first 3 plays were runs. So you sit there and you say, you know what? We're physically going to take it to you now. And we just got a first down without throwing the football. And that starts to put things in the other team's mind. Okay, now we're getting physically beat. If they can just start handing off the ball and control the game, we got issues. And they did that a couple of times in that drive. So, again, it wasn't a lot, but they got 73 yards, which was almost double what the Vikings had in terms of rushing yards. So, again, all these things, you're going to look at this as a stat sheet and say, wow, 242 total yards and you won a game with 3 turnovers. That's winning football, man. It's winning football. And I'm here for it. And we'll see.
I've got a question for you, JP.
Go ahead.
Let me pick your football brain for a second, not your Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan brain.
All right.
Todd Bowles, is he the Bucs, you think, long-term answer at coach? I'm not, so I'm only familiar with Todd Bowles other than where else he's coached. But he was here in Dallas as the secondary coach, like from 05 to 07, 08, something like that, and wasn't very impressive. Now, I know that was a long time ago. People grow. They get to be better coaches. He's a head coach now, again, obviously. But I've never been super impressed with Todd Bowles at any level of any position that he coached.
You know what? Todd's got a lot of Tony Dungy in him. He's got a lot of Tony Dungy in him. He's a very, I covered both of those guys for an extensive period of time. Gotten to know Todd a little bit. They're very, very similar guys. They're family guys. It's like he celebrates with Chips Ahoy and milk. Gruden's going out there knocking back, a 12-pack. It's not, everybody's different. Not criticizing either one. But it's just he's different. He's got a lot of Tony Dungy in him. I think you can be successful with that in this league, though. Defensive coordinators, defensive coaches aren't. They're not having a whole lot of huge success outside of Bill Belichick. And I know, you can say he's won 6 Super Bowls. It's just there hasn't been a whole lot of success there. So it's a tough question to answer, to be quite honest with you. He's not Mike Tomlin. He's not that fiery guy. He's not Sean McVay, an offensive genius. He's more Belichickian and Tony Dungy than he is,
right.
To Kyle Shanahan, right? But Kyle Shanahan doesn't have a Super Bowl. He's got a 28-3 loss on his Super Bowl record as an OC. But so it's tough to say. Tony Dungy finally won a Super Bowl because he had Peyton Manning. And those defensive coaches, if you get a superstar quarterback like Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, now it's a great marriage, right? Now, is Baker Mayfield that guy? Probably not. So it's a tough question to answer, but you can, I like where this team is at right now. And I like the way they won this first game. Beyond that, I don't know where they're going. And I don't see this as a Super Bowl winning team, but you just never know. You never know in this league. You can win a lot of games where this offense has to get markedly better. And I think it will. So that's why they play the games, brother. It's why they play the game. And Todd's been a very successful defense coordinator. He has been, he has had teams, that Buccaneer team defense. I mean, look what they did in the Super Bowl. Look what he did to Pat Mahomes. He saw an offensive line that was banged up, and what did he do? He got after their ass. And he mixed it up well enough to keep Pat Mahomes out of the end zone. They kept Patrick Mahomes out of the end zone. So, yeah, you got to give him, and then he comes back the next year and gives up, it calls a terrible zero blitz situation against the Rams and loses a playoff game over it. So, but I tell you this, I like the way he managed his team. I like the way this team played yesterday, mistake-free football. And this is his team. It's his imprint. He made the 4th down call, the long field goal call. Hard to be better. Hard to be better.
Baker's under a 1-year deal, correct?
Yeah, 1 year prove it deal.
If things go south for Baker and they have to go through another quarterback change, and God knows who that would be now going into it, does Todd Bowles survive something like that? Or
no.
Okay.
If they go, look, if they, if they're a 5-win team, and Baker stinks it up, no, they're going to go draft a quarterback, and they're going to get an offensive-minded head coach. And maybe it's Dave Canales, because he's really come in here and really wowed everybody. The way his way he handles his business, super smart guy, great energy, high character guy, has really impressed everybody. I could say those things about Todd Bowles, except the high energy part. But, again, that's not what you don't have to be a high energy guy to win, right? It's just a bit, and I know that's a little bit of a misnomer in this league, but yeah, we'll see. I so far so good, but I think the key here, more than anything, and I made this mistake too, is putting everything on him last year, and how I say Dallas to Dallas, right? The first game last year, that team was ready to play, and they kicked Dallas's ass. That was a 19-3 butt whooping. You were there. I was there. It was an ass kicking. And at the end, after a year of Todd Bowles, look at what happened in that playoff game in Raymond James Stadium. That was an ass kicking. That game was not close. It was never close. And, and I said, look at, the head coach is responsible for that. But a lot of that was on Tom Brady. That team was fractured at the end. They'd already had enough of that whole thing. Again, I don't want to just dump on Tom Brady, but it just is what it is, man.
If he deserves it, dump.
Yeah, I mean, he does. That was his debacle last year. He got all the credit for the Super Bowl and the 13-win season. He gets all the credit for that, right?
Right.
Good for you. You throw him his flowers, but you got to take the L last year. That was more Tom Brady than anybody else. He's the one who did the whole head coaching thing. He made, he's the one that was flirting with the Miami Dolphins, probably more than flirting, sleeping with the Miami Dolphins, cheating with the Miami Dolphins. That's why they got a first-round pick taken away from him. And while he was making a playoff run with the Buccaneers, and all of his teammates know it. And then he comes in and leaves training camp and goes up and parties with his old owner and doesn't show up to the Steelers game. I don't care who you are. That shit don't fly in a locker room. I don't care who you are. And so I'm going to give Todd Bowles his chance this year. This is his team. This is his OC. And he went, listen, he could have had, I'm sure he had a dozens of guys he's worked with knocking on his door to be the OC. Buddies, lots of good friends, right? And he said, you know what? This guy, he's the one who impressed me. He's the guy who runs the offense that I have a real hard time defending, that Rams offense. He's the one that brought great energy to this interview. You know what? That's the guy I'm going to hire. Not my buddies, not my friends. That's the guy. And that impressed me. That really impressed me, because most guys will do the comfort thing, right?
Yeah, that's a rarity in this league, to hire the right guy instead of your buddy. Yeah,
exactly. And that was like, oh, okay. All right. That's different. That's And from that jump, I've said this is a different Todd Bowles. He's been different in interviews. He's much more assertive. It's like, you know what? If I'm going down, it's going to be me. It's going to be because of me. And I respect that. And I think the players respect it too. They really do. They see these things. They see these things. And I think it showed on the field. You know, I went on a little bit of a football rant last week about how much I love this game, man. I love the game because it's the closest thing to, you know, metaphorically speaking, war, which is the closest thing, which is the most grueling and testing moment of the human experience, right? There's nothing that is more testing than the state of being in war. It is literally life and death at every moment. The strategies that go into it, the resources that go into it. That's why all the great coaches have studied the great generals. It's very it's a great metaphor for this game. And you can't cheat this game. You can't. You can for a little while, but eventually the authenticity better come through. You're going to be found out for who you are. If you're not physical enough, if you're not smart enough, if you're cutting corners, this game finds you out, man. And that's why I love this game. You can't hide. And because they'll find your weakness and they'll just attack it relentlessly, right? That was Don Shula's mantra. Find their weakness and attack it consistently and relentlessly. And that works. And that's what the great generals do. That's what the great coaches do. And so we'll find out. We'll find out. But I like this situation a lot more than anything we saw last year.
Maybe Mike McCarthy will be available for y'all next year.
Yeah. If he is, we don't want him. We don't want him. Hey, listen, as we transition into Tally loves the Cowboys. As we transition into the Cowboys, who I think of all teams, I would say who are the best, most impressive this week, I'd say the Cowboys and the 49ers, right? The Cowboys looked freaking fantastic last night. What did you see? What did you like?
Well, obviously I liked the defense, and we knew the defense was going to be good. Dan Quinn is an absolute, by the way, there's your next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, Dan Quinn, defensive coordinator, Dan Quinn. We knew the defense was going to be good, but I didn't know if I knew they were going to be this good. I was impressed with the speed, and I'll be honest, I had some reservations about the defense coming into the game all through the offseason, mainly in the secondary. But good God, man, I didn't see any flaws at all. The Cowboys historically have had an issue with stopping the run game. Saquon Barkley, 51 yards on 12 carries. I don't think that was an issue at all, stopping the run game. The speed coming off the edge is just insane. Daniel Jones had no time at all. And I don't know that much about the Giants offensive line, but I don't think they're that bad.
No, they put a lot into it.
Yeah, they put a ton into it to protect their huge investment, Daniel Jones with that contract. But the reservations I have are the same ones I've had last season and the season before that, and that is at quarterback, and that is on offense. Mike McCarthy is calling plays for the first time in his Dallas tenure here. I wasn't impressed with what I saw. Dak Prescott, 13 of 24 for 143 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions, which is a positive for him.
Right.
Of course, he missed 5 games last year and still tied for the league with 15 interceptions with Jared Goff. But, so I have the same concerns that I had going into the game. Defense will be fine. Cowboys scored 3 offensive touchdowns. I'll take 21 points, 20 because you missed an extra point really in one of those. But if the defense can keep teams under 17, under 20, I think Cowboys are going to be fine. How do they match up against teams like the 49ers, against the Eagles? I have my concerns.
Yeah, I don't think you could really, evaluate the offense under Mike McCarthy. Look, when you get it out to a lead like that on a rainy night, it's stupid to put the ball in the air. He managed that game like he should have managed the game. You're gonna get a win. You're not out there to throw it around. It's everybody. Look how explosive we are. Don't need to do that. We'll have to do that some other time. Don't need to do it tonight. So I'll just, they managed the game the way they should have managed the game. There's no reason for Dak to have thrown it more than that on a rainy night. So that's smart football. That's good. That's winning football. You don't have to be a hero. And it's not about, making Dak Prescott look good. It's not about making Tony Pollard look good. It's about winning the effing game. So they went out and did that. Now that was impressive.
Yeah, and in a game where, like you just said, you need to run the ball and pound the ball.
Yeah.
Anybody that was concerned about the loss of Ezekiel Elliott, just put your mind at ease, because Tony Pollard had 70 yards in a game where they were pounding the ball. He also scored 2 touchdowns. So, you know what? Zeke I didn't watch the Patriots. I watched some of the Patriots and Eagles. I didn't get to see if Zeke had any carries or if he was even in the game or how he did.
Had a big fumble.
Did he? Yeah. Well, you're welcome. Yeah, we're familiar with that here in Dallas too. But I have zero reservations about the running game here. Rico Dowdle, the second string, Deuce Vaughn, the rookie draft pick out of K-State, got some carries late in the game. And I mean, he didn't impress, but he wasn't bad, for playing against some of the second teamers. So I'll take it.
Yeah, they look good. The 49ers, man, went into Pittsburgh and just bitch slapped Pittsburgh at home. That does not happen to the Pittsburgh Steelers, folks. That just does not happen. That's why I had money on the Steelers as an underdog at home. I'm like, Steelers at home on an underdog, this team. And Bosa just signing, like, how effective is he going to be? Look, the 49ers Eagles are the most physical team in the league. And they just beat the snot out of the Steelers. You don't out-physical the Steelers at home. And they did. I mean, they had 1 yard, the first 5 drives. Kenny Pickett and that Steelers offense, the way we thought was going to be so good, 1 effing yard in the first 5 drives. Are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah, I saw that stat.
I mean, holy that's in an NFL game. And Brandon Ayuk had a couple of touchdowns. Purdy was really, really good. CMC, 123 carries, 100 and some yard. He had 160, 70 yards from scrimmage. He was phenomenal. When he's healthy, and how much will he be healthy? That's a big thing this year. But it's interesting, they ship out Trey Lance that has been all, and I think they finally just figured, all right, we effed up. So you know what? You can give up if you got a franchise quarterback, which I think they may have in Brock Purdy, and you get him in the 7th round. You screwed up giving away the 3 first-round picks, but whatever. You found a guy in the 7th round. That kind of makes up for it. And the rest of your team is just freaking loaded. 49ers are scary. They're scary, scary good.
And the Cowboys play them, I think, week 3 in San Francisco. Yeah, so it'll be an early, may not be, I can't remember what week, but it's coming up here in the next month or so. So it'll be an early season NFC matchup for us to watch.
The Dolphins yesterday, everybody's going to love the Dolphins, but again, I think it's fool's gold. They're explosive. But are they physical enough? Jalen Phillips came up with some big plays defensively. They got the big sack at the end on Herbert. Great game to watch, by the way. I watched that whole game. That was fantastic. Herbert's fantastic. Tua's great. He's great. He was 466 yards, 3rd most for a season opening debut, 28 of 45. Yep. He made some eye-popping plays. And I love Tua. But, is he going to be able to finish the season? We'll see.
Tyreek Hill obviously helped him out a lot too.
Yeah, how do you not cover that guy? How do you maybe you just can't cover him. Maybe they were doubling him all game and it just doesn't even matter.
Well, he's a cheetah, so.
Yeah, he is the cheetah. What else did you see from the NFL yesterday?
How about the Bengals collapsing against the Browns? What happened to Joe Burrow, man? 82 yards passing.
People thought I was crazy, but I did this. So on my fantasy team, my Joe Burrow is my quarterback, right? And I have to sit him 3 games this year. You have to start all your starters at least 3 games in my fantasy league. So you got to pick some games where he's not going to, you got to figure he's not going to play great. And so I started Sam Howell over Joe Burrow yesterday in my fantasy league. And it worked out really well because I'm like Burrow coming off the calf injury against the second best pass defense. And Joe Woods is not the DC he was trending this morning anymore. So, and the Browns have a lot of great talent on that side of the ball. And the Browns were at home against the Bengals. I was like, if I got to sit him, 3 times, this is definitely one of the times I should sit him. Right. So I sat him, and I didn't think he would be that bad, though. Yeah, I didn't think he would be that bad, but he'll be fine. The Bengals will be fine. That was just a bad matchup. And he had, listen, even when you're Joe Burrow, if you don't play for 6 weeks, going to be a little rough.
Sure. And that's another thing. We don't really have time to get into it now, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the policy or the tendency for teams not to play some of their, and I know Burrow couldn't play in the preseason because he was hurt, but teams like Tampa, teams like the Cowboys, where your starters need reps before, this isn't college. Yeah. You have the availability to practice some. I think it hurts those teams. And I know you have the risk of injury, but it's football. If you're going to get hurt, you're going to get hurt. You still got to play. You got to practice. I hate that tendency that teams don't play, at least in the final preseason game. You only got 3 now.
Yeah.
So
I agree with you,
hate
and I
that.
think that's why the Bucs offense was so slow starting. And the Bucs offense was not great, and I think they should have played more than 2 series in the preseason to get ready. And so you went out and won the game, but it wasn't because your offense made some big plays when they needed it, no question about it. But I think they could have been better. All right, let's take one more break. We'll go a little bit more than an hour, Tay, but we got to get one more break in. Then I want to hit the Rays and some college football. Big weekend for Florida teams, and maybe not so good for your Aggies there. It gets Miami too. All right. So quick break. Our thanks to all of our sponsors, the Jeeves Law Group, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, Italiano Insurance, the Golden Diamond Source, Extravaganza Productions, and American Mortgage Services. Back in 3. Stay with us.
Did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz, the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Have any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here on this Victory Monday. Big win for the Bucs. Looking forward to what this season holds for them. We've done a lot of Bucs this morning. IndyCar Tim is with me from our folks at DSP Media, our partners in Dallas. We've heard a little bit about the Cowboys. We've gone all through the NFL. And another big thanks to all our sponsors, by the way. The Jeeves Law Group, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com, Italiano Insurance, the Gold and Diamond Source, Extravaganza Productions. Get your free creative session with them. Go tour their warehouse. Tell them you heard it on the JP Show. And American Mortgage Services. If you're looking for a refi or a new mortgage, I know rates are up, but they'll give you the cheapest rates and shop it around for you and help you out with all your finances. American Mortgage Services, Scott at amstampa.com. All right, big weekend of college football. I'm sure, Tim, here in Texas, it's all the rage. I thought you were going to the Longhorn hat.
Oh, gross. I would never, man. I mean, I could go Tech, but I don't know. They're not really doing much better right now, are they?
No, not really. It's all about Texas.
Here we go.
They're losing.
I got one for you.
Oh, you do? You have one. Can you? Oh, the Buffs. Hey, listen, Dion owes me money, by the way. It's a lot of money.
Of course he does. He owes everybody money.
Yeah. But he's keeping receipts. Boy, I tell you what, he's paid me back the first 2 weeks because I have cashed on Colorado. I thought that was the easiest bet of the weekend. 3 points, 3-point favorite over Matt Rule in Nebraska. Come on.
That was easy.
Nebraska's a fraud. Matt Rule's a fraud. But wow, Colorado, and it wasn't easy. They had some adversity early on. Offense couldn't get on track, but they're athletes offensively at the skill positions, and they run an offense that spreads them out. O-line's not terrible. They're not terrible. I mean, I'll be interested to see when they go up against a real powerhouse football team, which they haven't played yet. TCU was good, but they're nothing like they were last year. Obviously, they lost all their playmakers. But what a great start for Dion. Shador is he's the real deal, man.
Nobody saw it coming. At least
I thought they'd be good. I didn't think they'd be this good.
No, and I didn't see it coming at all. I thought Dion would be a fraud head coach. Even at Jackson State, I was like, what has he done? I know he coached, Pee Wee and Little League or whatever it is and all that. And I just thought it was a bit him taking a small school, HBCU school head. I thought he was going to do this for his kids so he can coach his kids. It's a family thing, not necessarily a career decision. But man, he's proven me wrong and a lot of other people wrong that kind of felt that same way. Now he's doing it in a Power 5 school. So
listen, he's got, as my good friend Paul Wilson pointed out, he's got a lot of Bobby Bowden in him. He really does.
Yeah.
He's faith, family, football, right? He's a little bit more about the money than Bobby was. He's a little bit more show. Although people don't remember Bobby in his early days, he was a showman.
Yeah.
The razzle-dazzle offense, all the punt rooskies and all that stuff. That's what put Florida State on the map, man. And so, and a lot of it is a lot about his faith. Dion's very, very demonstrative about his faith. And, of course, Coach Bowden was as well. He's got a lot of strong, he's prime. There's a lot of flash, and a lot of people don't like the way he went about his business. But, I didn't have a huge problem with it. In fact, you're 1-11, but go get new play. If you have the ability to go get a bunch of 4 and 5 stars and bring them in, why the F wouldn't you do it? Like, people are mad about that.
Yeah.
I love me some Lee Corso. He's the best, but his take on Dion in week 1 was embarrassing.
A little old fashioned, wasn't it?
It was embarrassing.
Yeah.
I love that man. But it was embarrassing. And it came off as bad. I'll just say bad. And I know he was pissed at Prime turning his back on FSU. Look, do I like that? No, but get over it. You want me to objectively look at his football team and tell you what I think? And I'm like, yeah, they're super skilled. And by the way, he's got really good coordinators. So it's not like he doesn't have guys that know how to coach. And he brings the flash. He brings the money in terms of NIL. He brings, who's a better recruiter than Deion Sanders, for God's sakes?
Yep.
He's going to get 5-star after 5-star after 5-star. And now he's in a Power 5 with a place that's got, he's got access to Fox Sports. He's got access to Barstool. The dude's a great businessman. I mean, USF.
Crazy.
He was interested. He listened to him. They talked to him. USF didn't have the money. Got to spend money to make money.
See a future for him at Florida State down the road?
Burned a lot of bridges.
Did he?
And he's burned a lot of bridges. And by the way, we got a good coach.
Yeah.
He ain't going anywhere. And I know people like, oh, he'll be the next coach at Alabama. Maybe.
Oh,
maybe
wow.
We'll see. That was Dabo Sweeney for a while.
Sure.
I think the star is off that. The luster's off that star a little bit. Look, I don't think Mike Norvell's going anywhere. And I think FSU now has got people in place that know how important football is, instead of this clown show that they dealt with for the last 10 years. A lot of people in high places that didn't know what the F they were doing, and it showed. You want to put your golden goose on the back seat to your non-revenue sports. That's what's going to happen.
Yep.
That's what's going to happen. And finally there's some adults in the room there. And luckily we didn't hire that knucklehead from Louisville that we were about to hire as athletic director. And we got Mike Alford, who knows what the hell he's doing in terms of raising money and NIL. That was enough. And that was the residue of administration's past that almost made that huge mistake. And we avoided that. Thank God. If you haven't heard that story, well, I'll be happy to tell it one other time on this show. And it's so Florida State now, as we transition to them, they put it on Southern Miss. And that's, you double a team up and you run for 300 yards like they did. That shows you that you have the physicality to play with the big boys and beat up anybody you need to beat up. After you did that with week 1 at LSU and you follow that up with a route where you name your score, that's a team that should be ranked number 1. And a lot of people have the number 1. Georgia, that was a no-score game, right? After the first quarter.
Yeah.
It took them a little while to get going. I don't know what Georgia is. I'm not going to sit here and say FSU is better than Georgia, but FSU, to me, what they've shown, they're about as good as anybody. Now, tell me about the A&M Miami game. I just saw the highlights. I didn't watch it.
So, close game. I feel like these teams are pretty evenly matched. Of course, last year, Miami came in at Kyle Field, lost 17-9. The Aggies struggled again last year. But both teams are completely different. Chris, I'm a crystal ball believer, and I think he's going to have that thing a top 5 team sooner than later. The Aggies, on the other hand, I've been speaking the past couple of years as an Aggies fan. I went to A&M. I did not graduate from A&M, so I need to state my allegiance right now. I was politely asked to leave by the staff and faculty and to never return to campus ever again back in the early 90s. Late 80s, right out of high school.
Yeah.
That's a story for another day. But, my dad played for Bear Bryant at A&M.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, my family goes he was a Junction boy. My family goes way back through A&M's time. And so, I bleed maroon. That's really it. So, and I've tried to be a believer, man. I've tried to be a Jimbo guy. I told you before the show off the air, I didn't know him that much about Jimbo coming in when he got hired. I was happy that we finally had a guy with some skins on the wall. I was happy that we had a guy that seemed like he knew what he was doing. Kevin Sumlin certainly didn't do anything after Johnny Manziel left, and obviously he didn't do anything anywhere else either. But man, the honeymoon is over for me. I mean, he's in his 6th season now.
Yeah.
And dude, I'm done. I am done. I was trying to trend the hashtag fire Jimbo Saturday night. I was trying to make it trend, man. But I am done, man. I am so done.
Listen, Jimbo's a fraud in my book. Anytime you leave a team the way he left Florida State because he got his panties in a wad, he didn't get everything he wanted. And look, I just said what I said about the Florida State administration. They screwed that up. But if you're a man of character, you don't quit on your team in September when you have your new deal with A&M, which is exactly what he did. He quit on his team. He took his coaches off the road recruiting. That's disgusting. That shows me a huge lack of character. Bobby Bowden would never do that. Mike Norvell would never do that. Nick Saban would never do that. The quality guy, Kirby Smart would never do that. Mac Brown would never do that. That means you're a fraud. It means you're all about yourself and your self-interest. And as I said, the game of football finds you out, man. The game of football finds you out. When you're a man of low character like that, and there have been other instances in his life that have showed that, you're going to be found out, and he's a fraud. And when I heard they gave him a guaranteed 10-year contract, I literally laughed for a half an hour. I'm like, and then they extended him too, right? Didn't they? Then they extended him too.
He is under contract through 2031. So if they fire him in 2023, his buyout is almost $77 million. If they wait till 2024, it goes down to $68 million. The next year is $58 million. 2026 is $48 million. And you know what? They have the money, so I don't even give a flip. It's the principle of the matter. The dude sucks. I'm so done, man.
Yeah.
I'm so done.
He's a fraud. And I feel for you, partner, as a lifelong A&M guy. That's just not going to go well for you. So unfortunately,
and then I got to watch Texas beat Alabama. Good God.
Yeah, Texas. Bad weekend for you. Texas showed, they showed out the worst home loss for Nick Saban. Only double-digit loss he's ever had at home, 34-24. Listen, it felt like Quinn Ewers had an answer every single time. A couple of great deep balls for that team, that Texas team, and their defensive front. Holy crap, their defensive front is legit. Texas, when you see a defensive front like that, their offensive line pretty good too. And Sark is a good coach.
Yeah.
Sark knows what he's doing offensively. Texas is back. Do we want to say that yet? You go into Alabama and beat them by double digits.
Yeah.
That's doing something. That's doing something. I thought Saban would have a little something for him. And I think Jaden Milroe, good quarterback. He showed well, but that was just a physical beatdown. How many times can you ever say that about Alabama?
Man, Milroe is not a popular figure in Alabama. They're in Tuscaloosa. We've got an Alabama podcast on the network too here on FanStream Sports. And even going into the season, our buddy Justin Riley, who hosts that with several ex-Alabama players, by the way, dude, the Tuscaloosa fans were up in arms that even at the possibility of him being named the starter, he's not getting any love, even after the first week win. And now, especially after losing to Texas in Tuscaloosa, they're calling for his head. I mean, it's bad.
Was he that bad? I didn't think he was terrible.
I didn't think he was terrible. I thought it was more of a game plan issue against Texas, to be honest with you. But like I said, this started before he lost. I mean, just going into the season, nobody likes him there for some reason, and I don't understand it. He's not that bad. He was a high recruit.
Yeah. Huh.
So
interesting, but I don't think they could fix it. They could fix it, but we'll see. I just didn't like the way they got pushed around in their own place. And FSU, we didn't mention much about them. Trey Benson had 3 touchdowns. They're just, when you run like they did, Jordan Travis had a couple of touchdown passes. They just dismantled them. Their second, Tate Rodemaker was in there, and by midway through the third quarter, so that was impressive. What else from college football? Not a lot of big weeks, but I think we covered most of them. The Rays had a big weekend. Just to transition a little bit to baseball here, the Rays had a big weekend. They get a walk-off Saturday night. Yandy Diaz walks it off. They had 2 comebacks on Friday and Saturday night. Yesterday, Josh Lowe came up with some big hits. Harold Ramirez is not going to cover off the ball. He's got 18 RBIs in his last 20 games, and the Rays are just banking wins. But it's hard. The Orioles have been really, really good. This week, they're going to go to Minnesota for 3, and then they got 4 with Baltimore in Baltimore. That's going to decide the division. So interesting times for the Rays, and they keep winning. I don't know how they keep winning with all the injuries they've had, but they keep winning, and it's good.
By the way, for all you Rays fans who were worried about the Rangers in the postseason, you can forget it. The Rangers aren't going to make the postseason. They're done.
Yeah.
They're
Wow.
toast.
That was awful.
It's a massive collapse.
So somebody was asking about the Rays. Yeah, Mario. Yeah, they took 3 of 4. Nice win. Good weekend for FSU. I mean, for Tampa Bay Sports. Thomas Casper, thanks for joining us again. Anybody question going for 4th and 1 at the Bucs zone 30? Yeah, I loved it. I love Bulls. They had about half a yard to get, man. In that situation, that's a tone setter. You punt there. You just. I don't know. I hate it. I hate it when you're punting in a situation like that. Just line up and go get it. And if you don't get it, you live with the consequences. Bucs Live says, if you know how the lines are set, it has nothing to do with the predicted score. It's a prediction of getting 50% of the voters on each side. Oh yeah, absolutely. Right. Sure. Of course. But and that's why it started at 7, because everybody was down on the Bucs, and then the smart money brought it down to 4. Always watch those line moves, folks. Those are pretty telling. What else? We didn't mention USF. USF gets a big win over FAMU. Alex Gulesh got his first win. And now Alabama comes to town after getting their ass kicked by Texas.
Wow. They're going to be looking for blood too, man.
I feel bad for those USF players. Oh my God.
That might be a fun game to watch.
If you're an Alabama fan,
I mean, just it can't be uglier than Cowboys Giants, right? It's not going to look that bad.
I don't know. It could be. It could be uglier than that. All right, that'll do it for us here. Appreciate you guys listening. Don't forget, we'll be at the patio tonight. 2 shows today. It's a Victory Monday. Tim, thanks for pinch hitting here today. Great
Anytime,
job,
man.
Yeah, good
Anytime.
to hear from you and all our good friends there in Texas. We'd love to have you on. Thanks you guys for listening. Come out to the patio tonight and say hello. We'll have some fun prizes for you, $4 White Claw seltzers and vodkas. It's a Monday Night Football. And, oh, by the way, I wanted to mention this because John Hill jumped in here and said they're close to a deal. ESPN is close to a deal, so you might have Monday Night Football tonight. So we all it's just reported that they're close to a carriage deal. Funny how the first Monday Night Football game of the week, they finally get it back. Huh?
You know what Jerry Jones says? Deadlines make deals.
Deadlines make deals. All right, buddy. We'll see you at the patio tonight, 4 to 6. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, 10 to 12.
See ya.